Today's video is on my epic spring fragrance haul so far this spring. So it goes without saying, I'm really excited to show you guys what I have here so far. But just a reminder before I do so, if you're already a fan of some of the fragrance content that I do on this channel, and if you've yet to subscribe, please do so already. After all, the content that I'm making for you here on this channel is free for you to watch. So if you'd like to say thank you in any way, shape, or form, the best, the most free, and the easiest way for you to do so is by subscribing. That and also hitting the notification bell as well to ensure that you're among the first ones back here the next time I do a fragrance video. But as far as this fragrance video, we have a lot to get through here, so we might as well get on with it. Now roll intro, roll video. And I must say, for the purpose of this video here, I know I listed $1,000 in the title, but that's not actually how much I spent for everything here altogether. However, that's how much you're actually going to be spending, if not more, depending on MSRP wherever you're at, as well as tax, duties, and customs, say if you go the retail route. But yeah, I'm just trying to be a little bit more cognizant and frugal about my fragrance spending going forward now. I do have a lot already behind me that I'm not actually properly going to get through, so I just don't want my fragrance collection to furthermore outlive me. So I'm trying to do three things to combat that. One is only buying stuff that I really want. Two is one of those coming in, so another has to go out, so one in, one out. And number three is buying partials if possible, just because I still get that rush of having a full presentation of something, but there's less in there, which favors me because again, I'm not trying to have these outlive me. So yeah, this has actually been a pretty good system in recent weeks and or months. So if you also want to buy partials too, check out places like Mercari or Craigslist and or forums or Facebook groups, as well as Facebook Marketplace. Lots of nice goodies that you can find there, and you can potentially pay way less than a lot of gray market rates out there already, which is insane. So again, everything here was picked up secondhand unless stated otherwise. But with that being said, we might as well actually get into the first fragrance on this haul, and that is Comme des Garcons 2 by Comme des Garcons, or for the purpose of this video, we'll call it CDG2. And this stuff I actually got in a trade from my dude Scented Arsenal on Instagram, so thanks again, my friend. And I'm really happy to have it after sleeping on it for many years, just because I have somewhat been kind of apprehensive of the inky inspiration here, although also equally enchanted with it. But upon having it here now, it's actually so easy to wear, and that I like. So to channel that synthetic inky vibe in a more pleasant way, CDG does it via Cade oil. Cade oil, if you don't already know, is juniper and or juniper berries. So here it specifically leans a little bit more smoky, deep, and fruity, still in a semi-sweet way, almost like a plum, believe it or not. And to add to the pleasantness of that ink, you also have a little bit of magnolia here. So magnolia is a wet type of floral that adds to the moistness of how a scent might come off. But then to even out that here, you also have actual ink listed as a note and a bit of incense too for a more traditional-ish kind of vibe. So altogether, I just love the balance here. Dark and wearable, dark and fresh, dark and wet. And if you too are looking for a more storytelling driven, more daily wear kind of scent, I would definitely point you in this direction if you've yet to check it out. So please do so already if you haven't. It's Comme des Garcons 2 or CDG2 by Comme des Garcons. Now moving on to the next fragrance in this haul, and it is from a line from Chanel that I've yet to speak about called Les Eaux de Chanel, and this one specifically is Paris Biarritz. Now shout outs to the girl I picked this up from on Facebook Marketplace, who listed it for about 50% off or more, just about, for this 85% full partial, and that's just an amazing price because if you know Chanel's, they seldom go discounted. So at this rate, of course, I could not say no, but to be fair, this is not remotely my favorite from the Les Eaux line. I'd still say that's Paris Riviera, which I will talk about one day, but for now, I'd say Paris Biarritz is definitely worth checking out for their most approachable kind of citrus. Like for real, this is the most mundane scent they have in the line. Lots of that advertised Sicilian mandarin in the opening for the most part, very sweet and juicy. Doesn't remotely come off as sharp and sour, but admittedly the greenness that follows it is just kind of pedestrian, at least from my nose. Like, it doesn't wow me whatsoever, neither does the Lily of the Valley. Like, Lily of the Valley is already a note that I'm not the biggest fan of remotely. I guess it's a bit more feasible here just because it's less sharp, less soapy, than usual, but again, it still just doesn't do it for me. And then with all things considered, for this scent to just last, 4 or 5 hours, personally, I have a hard time recommending it overall. So the jury's out on if this will make my summer list in the near future. I'm not sure right now. We'll see how I feel about it in a bit, but for now, from jump, not so much. But at the very least, try this. Let me know what you think. Again, from Les Eaux de Chanel, this one is Paris Biarritz. Now it's time to move on to the next fragrance in the haul. This one's by Serge Lutens. This one is Datura Noir. And shout outs to my homegirl who got this previous presentation partial for me. You know who you are. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm digging this overall. Just super wearable stuff despite the storytelling of it being based off of the toxic flower of the same name. And to actually execute that vibe here, tuberose is the main player, but it's not overtly intense like a Carnal Flower from Frederic Malle, for example. Instead here, it focuses more on the creamy facets, so not so indolic or poo-pooey, so just right if you ask me. You also got a bit of heliotrope, which is like a soft vanilla-y floral that comes out too. Very appealing stuff, but to add more of a skin scent sweetness, the coconut oil and the bitter almond in the mid really set it off, especially in the heat. So within an arm's length, overall you get this nutty, vanilla-y white floral that I think is perfect for like a daytime picnic brunch or something like that. Like that's how I want to envision how pretty and bright and still cozy this scent is. So if that's something that you would be remotely down with, definitely try it yourself, because that vibe is still dope despite the scent getting less talk in recent years. Again, it's the still lovely Datura Noir by Serge Lutens. Now moving on to the next fragrance in the haul here. This is from a brand I have yet to speak of, and it is Jovoy Paris, and this scent is L'Art de la Guerre. And I actually got this in a trade from a local friend in the community, so big ups to him, salute bro, because I'm really appreciating this stuff right here as I dig two of its main notes respectively in rhubarb and immortelle. Rhubarb coming off as slightly fruity but more of a fresh vegetal opening note that always gives a fun vibe to any scent it's in, and then minutes after that you get that immortelle, which comes out a greenish aromatic herb that is also somewhat caramelized in quality as well, which I know some people are a little bit split on. Now I personally like that vibe because you can get really crafty with it, you can go fresher and aromatic, you can also go a little bit warmer and darker, it just depends where you stand. And here there's a bit of leather in the background too, but don't worry, it's nothing too dark or intense. It's just kind of there in the background. If anything, it's almost nondescript. So yeah, don't get it remotely twisted. This is definitely more rhubarb and immortelle, and if you are in the market for those more fringe opening and or mid notes that don't often get shine and you want to see it done right for once, definitely check it out here, because I think it's just super lovely, especially for like a warm day in the city. Say if I'm doing errands or something, I don't know, that's kind of how I would envision using a scent like this. It's just really happy stuff despite the namesake and the art of war. Not sure how this has anything to do with Sun Tzu, but yeah, I dig it, you might too. L'Art de la Guerre by Jovoy Paris. Now moving on to the second last scent on the list, and undoubtedly my favorite. This one is by Frapin, it's Luministe. And I'm so glad that I no longer put off getting this, because even at retail, despite its shit longevity, its opening makes it so worth it alone. And yes, I picked it up at retail because it's seldom discounted and anyone who has it typically loves it, hence why I also can't get it second hand. But yeah, Luministe to me is the penultimate gin and tonic fragrance, all things considered. Like notes that support a fresh gin in the opening, like lemon and bergamot to get it crack-a-lackin', but then the citrus combo smells so good you just want to drink it. Yeah, I just dig it that much. Add in some more gin and juniper for more of an authentic gin and tonic vibe, as well as some spicier and warmer notes to keep it projecting within an arm's length for a couple hours. Yeah, I'm easily in love with the stuff, no doubt. But just like most owners of this scent, I too have qualms with it, mainly longevity, because this stuff starts to taper off around the 4-hour mark, and to me that's not good enough. This maybe gets about 5 or 6 hours total, even under warmer conditions, so it's just naturally that fleeting. So what do you do about that? But for me, it's only a small axe for me to grind, just because of the fact that it still does feel really concentrated. Say when you were to spray it, you catch that opening, it smells nice and full and juicy. It definitely feels like you're getting a scent there. It's just, again, it's clearly just less is more, so you kind of have to deal with that. But I'd also be remiss if I didn't say this as well. For me, with love interest, this is definitely the most complimented scent as of late. It just screams smart, casual, gentlemanly, and sexy. So if you're also to be told that this stuff smells really nice despite that longevity, I think you're gonna put up with that. So yeah, I'm very excited for this purchase. Again, it's Luministe by Frapin. And finally, we've arrived at the final scent of the haul, so here we go. This one is by Kilian. It's called Light My Fire. Now, to be fair, this is definitely not a spring and or summer scent, but I did win this secondhand tester bottle from a contest on Facebook recently, believe it or not, so I'd be remiss if I did not discuss this one too, at the very least. And for the purpose of this video, as far as pricing goes, I will list it at MSRP in the description on screen too. But yeah, Light My Fire is without a doubt the finest and yet most unnecessary Serge Lutens Chergui interpretation out there, but given Kilian's aesthetic, I'd say that if cloning anything would be on brand, a warm tobacco accord like Chergui I guess would make sense for them. And to also why I guess I'm okay with this stuff is that it's ultimately more easy to wear. Like sure, you have that cumin here listed as a prominent note, but no, this does not smell like BO or sweat whatsoever. If anything, in opening I get a honey-like accord with a bit of hay, kind of like in Chergui. But unlike Chergui where things start to get more sicklier, especially with more body heat, this stuff's honey instead dissipates in favor of more of that tobacco with that hay maintaining. So overall it feels a little bit more brisk and gentlemanly. I just dig this more overall because again, it just doesn't feel like I'm sweating honey, kind of like I would feel in Chergui. That's why I'm happy to have it. Again, if you want to check it out too, it is Light My Fire by Kilian. And there you go, forum. That about does it for this haul. I hope you enjoyed it all. Did I mention one of your favorites? If so, which one was it? If not, which fragrance are you looking forward to trying here most? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, the like goal for this video is 500 likes, so let's get there. Again, liking the video is free too, so if you want to support me, please do so that way. It's a great way of showing your thanks. And again, subscribing as well as hitting that notification bell. But until the next one, thank you again for your ongoing support. Really appreciate you. Take care for now. Peace out. Bye. My name is Manny. Wear your fragrances.